Good afternoon again, everyone. Finally, the day is here. Rescue Nigeria Changemakers presents its very first monthly people's discussion. You can call it the People's Parliament, and you will not be wrong. This lets you know that this has been brought to you by Initiative for Good and Informed Citizenship. Kindly mute your microphones and please note that this is going to be for an hour. So I'll enjoin all of us to be brisk with our comments, with our contributions, and our panelists also to be straight to the point. I'm your moderator, Anike Adefunke Treasure. We'll take the next 1 hour to examine the topic, Nigeria, breakup or not? Nigeria, breakup or not? Now, this is one controversial topic, one that was debated vigorously in the last year. And it has brought about dramatic twists and turns in the nation. What does the Constitution say about secession, about a breakup? Have you read the Nigerian Constitution ever? I haven't. I hear it's wordy and voluminous. But then how do we get past the legalese to read the document? Why is it considered a criminal act to mute the idea of a breakup? What are the implications of a breakup for Nigerians at home and in the diaspora? Now, these are some of the questions we're going to be looking at in the next 1 hour. However, three things that I would like to make clear before we proceed, and which are also reiterated in the course of the meeting, is that one, Rescue Nigeria is not affiliated to any political party. Rescue Nigeria is about the well-being of Nigeria. This conversation is not about Nigeria breaking up. This is having a robust conversation about an issue that concerns all of us. So let's dig in. Having established this fact, we have 6 panelists. They're distinguished all the way. We have Dele Farotimi, a lawyer, a seasoned political activist, and also he's been vocal in recent times, been talking about the run-up to the presidential or the elections coming up next year. We have Buki Bello Jayesini, entrepreneur, Pan-Africanist, and a multiple award recipient. Buki Bello, welcome. Dele Farotimi, I can see you. Welcome here as well. We also have, you're welcome. We also have a communications expert, Joko Okukwe, with us. Welcome, Joko. A leadership coach and charity consultant. It can't get any more interesting than this. Maureen Carrier is with us. Maureen, how do you do? Welcome. We also have Kellas Agbasi. Kellas is joining us, as well as DK Chukwuberije finally could join us today. Welcome, a poet and a performance poet. Welcome, rave of the moment in Nigeria. You're all welcome. We'll begin with panelist introductions to the topic, but let me let you know that as we go on, I'll say a few words and a bit of this and that about our panelists again. So I'll start with Dele Farotimi. You've said the problem of Nigeria can never be resolved by personnel changes. The system is designed with impunity undergirding it, and it can never deliver anything positive to the Nigerian people. Can you please speak to the statement of yours?
You said you haven't read the Nigerian Constitution, and I can assure you that you've missed nothing, because each and every one of the words that are written on that piece of paper are pure lies. Constitutions, by their very nature, are necessarily the way by which a people have agreed to govern themselves. And the last time the Nigerian people had the opportunity to sit down to take any such decision, they called it the 1963 Constitution. Since that time, all that has happened is that succession of military bandits, and I call them those names deliberately because that's all they've been. They sat down, coated themselves with veneers of respectability, and they have come up with what are essentially slave documents. Because what you call the Nigerian constitution, which should be an encapsulation of the will of the Nigerian people, has actually done nothing but to constrain the will of the people. So if you are now changing the persons who sits in the different offices created pursuant to that fraudulent document, all that you will be doing is that you will be reinforcing the lie. But the unfortunate thing about the reinforcement of lies is that however much you try, you can't build something on nothing. If a foundation is designed to hold only a tenth, and you then attempt to put more on it, what happened in Ikoyi the other day will happen. It will collapse. It's a natural consequence of lies that they are short-lived. The foundation upon which the Nigerian state is currently found is a lie. That foundation itself cannot sustain anything. That's why we are having the multiple problems we have across the length and breadth of Nigeria. So if Nigeria must proceed into a better future, we must be truthful enough to tell ourselves that the system is simply not working. It's not about voting angels. You can bring any angel, bring anyone, as long as the system is not dealt with, it collapses. I hope I've answered the question.
Very well. So let's move on to Buki Bello Jaisini. You've said leadership is so far has been for them, depriving citizens of right to dignity, who deserve the kind that restores dignity to citizens by providing basic needs and dignifying labor that brings about nation building. Can you speak to your statement for this event?
Thank you very much. Absolutely. Leadership has not done justice to citizens, in my view. And when you find citizens being crippled by not having basic infrastructure, rights to dignity is absent. People live at times in this part like they belong to another nation, not this nation. We see what happens in other countries that are developing, if we say we are still developing. And we find dignity. We find people living free. We find basic infrastructure available. Labor comes as dignity. People sweat, people work in these parts, and it looks like nothing has been done or nothing is being done. And even that is not appreciated by the system. So how do you explain that other than what I've said? So absolutely, I stand by my words. We deserve the kind of leadership that will restore human dignity, that will provide infrastructure, that will make the basic of the basic items to be available to citizens. And in a nutshell, nation building should be, we are not experiencing nation building here at all. What we have is sectional. It's not holistic.
Right. Thank you very much. That's your opening statement. Let me go to Maureen Carew. You said, let me read what you said. Nigeria is greatly fragmented and each fraction is crying out for blood. And our leaders are milking this to their advantage. Rather than try to unite, the leaders are further widening the gap by playing the ethnicity card. And this has certainly fuels the breakup or not debate. Would you kindly speak to your views as we start?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rescue Nigeria, and thank you for putting this program together. I actually got that from an article that I wrote in 2019 during the, what's it called now? Revolution Now, as we know, that was led by Showore. And a journalist approached me at the time, and I wrote an article. And if anyone is interested, I will make that available at some point. And so it's a quote from an article that I wrote for a Nigerian magazine at the time. And basically what I'm saying is exactly what this presentation is all about today. The thing is, every one of us, and what I was trying to drive at in that article is that Nigeria belongs to each and every one of us. And it's high time we stopped playing the ethnicity card and we begin to take personal responsibility for the things that are happening in Nigeria. You know, we can't keep pointing fingers. And that's what I see is being done right now, where the fractions are being encouraged by people, sometimes even people who are in diaspora, who are not even living with the people, suffering with the people, and inciting them to violence. I am not saying we shouldn't protest. Yes, we should protest, and we should make our views and opinions known. But when you think about Martin Luther King Jr. and you think about Nelson Mandela, then we need to begin to think. Somebody says that if we fail to learn from history, we will repeat history. So for me, I don't see the way forward as, you know, we need to break Nigeria up. And that's what that article was feeding into, is the fact that we need to sit. Each and every one of us needs to take a personal responsibility. And I will end on this. This is me wanting to take personal responsibility. And I'm going to make myself vulnerable because I want to drive a point home. Some years ago, when, sorry, oops, do you want me to stop? Because
yes, let's move on to the other panelists because we're doing our intros now. I see Dika Mary J, spoken word and performance poetry artist, award-winning author. Give us your opening statement. Dika, you'll have to unmute yourself and talk to us.
Thank you. Nigeria is not the first nation in the world to be artificially created. The circumstances by which Nigeria came into being is not unique to Nigeria. There are many nations that have a similar trajectory to ours that are doing well. If you look across the world, there are many nations that run all kinds of systems: parliamentary, presidential, one-party, multi-party, that are doing well. So I say that to say that the historical circumstances of our birth and the systems and structures that we have in place are not reasons why we cannot become great. Our greatness lies in our potential. We're a country that has all the potentials for greatness. And as is always the case in any country in the world, the missing link is always leadership. Leadership is not just political, it's also social, it's also cultural, it's also in the economic sphere, in every sphere. What always makes the difference is leadership. And leadership is the ability to see the potential in what you have. It is not constantly looking at others and saying, look at what they have. Leadership is the ability to see the potential in what you have and to conceive a vision that allows you to use your own strengths to get to that future. And this is not an activity that is restricted only to politicians. In fact, the task of nation building is not primarily that of a politician. It is that of citizens. It is that of ordinary people like us. And I believe that one of the key things in Nigeria is that we're all constantly driving, looking in the rearview mirror. We're constantly trying to use today to correct the mistakes of yesterday. And I believe that for Nigeria to get where it needs to be, we need to leave the past alone and look forward. We need to look at our nation dispassionately, at its strengths, and build strategies that harness those strengths rather than all the time obsessing over our weaknesses, obsessing over our shortcomings, because everybody has weaknesses and shortcomings. But the way forward is to recognize your strengths and to begin to use those strengths. Thank you.
The way forward is to recognize the strengths and begin to, use those strengths. Let's move on to Kella Sagbasi, advertising specialist, chief executive at Eden Marketing and Media. Is also a pastor of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Kella, talk to us. What's your opening statement?
First of all, I want to say thank you to this distinguished convention Rescue Nigeria. And I want to congratulate all the distinguished panelists and audience. The Nigerian situation is such that we have found ourselves in a country where all of us are in a vehicle that is actually going nowhere because the paths have not been charted. Nobody has said this is where we're heading to. Nobody has been able to sit down and say, okay, this is what was done in the past. This is what we want to do now. And this is how we want to get there. And that comes back to the question of leadership, like DK said. If we do not address the leadership question at all strata of society, we are still going to find out that the more we move, the more we find ourselves in one spot. We are not going anywhere yet. We need to chart a path so we can start moving. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. So finally, let me come to Joko Okupe. Joko Okupe is a communication expert. A bird whispered to me that he's been working on the Nigerian constitution and looking at how to translate into different languages. Now, I'm fascinated by what you do already. So talk to us, give us your opening statement about the topic today, Nigeria, breakup or not. Mr. Okupe, please mute yourself.
Good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I'm privileged to be here and I thank you for the opportunity. Looking at the Nigerian situation, it's good to talk about leadership crisis, leadership problems, which are obvious, they're there. But thinking a little bit deeper, leaders don't drop from heaven, they come from amongst people. So we need to ask ourselves that what kind of people are we? When leaders do things that get them into power, it is with the people that support them to get into those positions. And so we need to ask ourselves that as a people, who really are we as a people? How do we think? The mind shift advocacy is, we've carried out researches to discover that the average Nigerian has a mindset that is very, very self-centered, very, very much more focused, on his own needs and aspirations, and almost devoid, of the environment. So looking and going forward, let us look a little bit more inwards as individuals, as families, as communities, and ask ourselves, are we really the kind of Nigerians that we are hoping that Nigeria will become? I think if we're able to answer those questions in our hearts and minds, we'll be able to chart a path forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very short and precise. Now, let's return to the very meat of what you've all talked about. And of course, the topic, Nigeria, breakup or not. Joko, you've talked about mind shift, the average Nigerian, the mindset, self-centered and all of that. I am looking at this topic, Nigeria, breakup or not. I'll start with you, Joko. What do you think of this particular topic? Some people are agitating. Look, 60-something years, 61, 62, we're not doing any better in the view of a lot of people. Should we break up? Should we not break
up? Thank you. For me, and for a lot of people, breakup that we talk about is not as simple as putting a bottle, and smashing it on the ground. It's not that simple. Fortunately, unfortunately, we've been together for 60 plus more odd years. When people live together for that long, they've become intricately woven together in many, many directions. I mean, if we talk about fusion of tribes, fusion of interests, fusion of relationships, I'm sure that some of us on this platform have very, very close friends that are not from our ethnic tribes, that we've done good business with, that we've related with together. There are companies in Nigeria that are being run by people of different ethnic tribes, and they're doing so well. So that tells me that there is a potential in us working together meaningfully, the strength of the diversity that we have. If only we can have a positive mindset to be progress-driven and to see that we can actually work together. Now we've spoken about the issue of the constitution and what we are trying to do at Mind Shift, because we keep on talking about the constitution. With the research we carried out shows to us that even the educated Nigerian does not know what's in the constitution. So how do you begin to address changes in the constitution that the elites, the illiterates do not really know anything about? So we thought that the beginning point is to first of all try to make us even understand and recognize what is in it, no matter how empty, no matter how illegitimate it is, so that the song of saying, oh, we need to change this direction, we will all be on the same page and we will all march towards the same direction. So I don't think breakup is the answer.
Right. Thank you very much. You've talked about the strength of our diversity. We've also talked about we as a people. Dele Farotimi, I heard you say somewhere that the next election is already rigged. It's already rigged against the people. Talk to us about this mindset as we look into whether Nigeria break up or not. Should we break up? Should we not break up? Why shouldn't we? But at the moment, let's look at what your statement somewhere else where you said the system is already rigged against the people. Dele Farotimi, please.
You see, there is a word we bandy around a lot in Nigeria, and the readiness to presume regularity of meaning to that word has led a lot of very intelligent Nigerians into horrible errors. We use the word citizen. We call ourselves citizens. The foundational lies that we have embraced when we do that blinds us to the realities of our existence. When I say that we have already been robbed and that it won't change anything essentially, is because if you do not change the tree that is the source of the bad fruit, and you merely continue to prune and you are praying that the mango tree will bring plantain, it's a waste of time. It will continue to produce the same thing. So my own position in saying that is that instead of us to focus on the problem that is the Nigerian system, look, Uche would, my brother Chukwumerije, me and him, a lot of respect for my brother, but there is something that all of us need to look at critically, and that is the fact that if you have created a system that demands that a man should swim through a sewer line before emerging at the other end, you have already assured that it's going to come out dirty.
Right.
So the process is already tainted in a manner that has guaranteed that it is only the worst of us that would only ever emerge. And when they emerge, the only thing they ever seek to do is to maintain the system. So the system is designed to preserve itself. It is not designed to serve the Nigerian. The Nigerians have come to understand that. That is why they are disconnected from the process. That's why they are demanding, I want to go. You can't fuse people together if justice is not in the mix. If one part feels like they are less than the next and that they will not be treated the same as their next man, if you are treating people and you are claiming that you have reserved, there is a disadvantaged part that you must equalize. What you are saying is that you are going to disadvantage another person in order to equalize what you are claiming is a disadvantage. And the very foundation of the union itself has been compromised by the unilateral actions that did not carry the people along. No amount of interpretation of that document is going to make it Nigerian, because Nigerians are not connected to it and it does not deliver justice to them. If you want to solve the Nigerian problem, deliver justice. Without justice, we can be together for the next 600 years. We would only be together in this state of perpetual war, because that's where we have been. The only reason you are seeing all this strife is because people feel cheated. They feel disenfranchised. And all this thing we call corruption is not corruption. is people looking to equalize within a system governed by impunity and not law. Without law, you can't have justice. Nigeria is not ruled by law. So that's the reason I said what I said. Whoever gains office, the lot of the Nigerian does not change.
Right. Thank you very much, Dele Farrington. Let me quickly go to Buki Bello Jaisimi. You're an entrepreneur. You've set up businesses across some of the parts of Africa. Talk to us. Nigeria, break up or not? Why should we break up? Why should we not break up?
Yes. All right. Thank
Right.
you. I'm talking from the point of view of an entrepreneur. I will always go back to infrastructure.
It can possess virus, mate.
You can't do no business right when you're not supported by the right infrastructure, whether within your country or outside. Numerous trade barriers. Try having a business transaction with the closest country to you on whichever side now, say Benin Republic, and you will see what happens there. The trade barrier is still very, very evident in us dealing with ourselves within the continent of Africa.
What we're saying is, we're looking at the issue of Nigeria, some agitations in some places that countries should break up. People are saying, no, we don't have to break up to fix our problems. And some of our panelists have been speaking to this issue. What do you think we should do as a nation moving forward? I've asked your opinion, but I don't want you to talk about trade barriers. I want you to speak to the topic. Yeah.
Well, whichever way we decide to go, whether break up or not, I will say that there are conditions to them. There are attendant costs as well. So either we break up or we don't break up. If we don't break up, what structure do we have in plan to restructure what we have on ground? These are questions that need to be answered by public stakeholders and citizens of the country. My opinion is just one, but these questions are endless. If we're saying we want to break up, also that has attendance costs, though it looks like that it's more easier or more popular, because a lot of people are agitating, they're tired. Oh, there's everything is happening not the way it should be, socioeconomically, politically, and so on and so forth. Rule of law, is it really what it should be, or it's not? Is it do we have selective application of the rule of law? So if we're talking about breaking up, there are also attendant costs to it that is endless. So I'm not going to say a yes, neither am I going to say a no, because whichever way it swings, I am still a citizen of Nigeria, and I will have to follow suit. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Jaisimi. This is about Nigerians. We're all Nigerians, whether we're at home or we are abroad. This is about how we can foster a better nation, how we can get things working for all of us. This is not about Nigeria should break, but if we have agitators for a breakup, how should we treat these people? What does the Constitution say about this? And how do we make it less criminal to even mute the idea? Now that we have a lot of people agitating for this, what should the government start doing? What structure? You've talked about structure. What structure should we put in place to get the people to be heard? I see your hands, Grace Alexander and Dr. Bukola, but let me quickly take Kailas Agbasi's view about this before we come to our people raising their hands.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'd like us to put our finger on the fact that the agitations are a symptom of the directionlessness of the nation. If we had a direction, like I said earlier, if we had charted a path of where we're heading to as a people, these agitations will not be there. Then again, the misrule, the political misbehavior, the misbehavior in the leadership space is also a symptom of our lack of proper national structures. For example, the rule of law has not really been strengthened.
As I've reiterated at the beginning of this event, I've said, Rescue Nigeria is what it is. It does not have political affiliation to any political party. It does not advocate for a breakup of Nigeria. Rescue Nigeria is looking for a platform for citizens to have robust conversations about issues pertaining to their overall welfare in this nation. This event is not anti-government. This event is not anti-people. This event is not to derail the Nigerian government. So for those of you trying to hack into the event and make it impossible for us to have this conversation, it's needless. It's needless. It's absolutely needless. So we go on with what we're talking about. Whether you're hacking or not, we're having a conversation about Nigeria, and we're all Nigerians. Nigeria is ours, all of us. So let's go back to the topic. If people are agitated, where they should have a say in what's going on. They want better lives for themselves and their children. Let me come to you, Joko Okukwe, and let's talk about what the Constitution says, what we can advise the Nigerian government to begin to consider in moving forward about whether people are agitating for Nigeria not to break up or to break up. What do we begin to tell our government? I mean, elsewhere there will be a referendum, people will talk our contributions. I will come to the other participants in this event shortly. Let me take the rounds with our panelists, then I'll come to the comments I've seen and all the people raising up their hands. So let's talk with Joko Okukwe briefly. What should we be telling the Nigerian government?
Well, it's not a matter of telling the Nigerian government anything really. It's more of us Nigerians coming to a resolve, to find a way forward. If we have to advise government, if government will listen to advice, it is to find a way to release power to the people, to let the people be participants in taking decisions about their own future. A lot of the referendums and all those other things, we may have to design a unique way, to get the voice of the people to be heard in this matter, which is why we thought that even if we agree that the Constitution is not a good one, it's a fraudulent one, it's an illegitimate one, that is what we're operating presently. And it has to be a starting point. Majority of people that participate in the political activities are grassroots people. When elites or educated people don't even understand what's in the Constitution, how much more the grassroots people? How do we begin to even make attempts to correct what we do not understand? So I think government should just make an effort to bring the people closer and to get their voices heard.
Thank you very much. Let me come to you, DK. If Nigeria should break, what are the conditions and protocols that you find acceptable?
I'm the wrong person to ask that question. For me, I don't have any, I'm not in the middle on that.
You're not in the middle.
Nigeria
must stay together. What are the conditions?
Nigeria should stay together. And the conditions have already been laid out. The conditions have already been laid out. The principles around which Nigeria will flourish have already been laid out by our founding fathers. You have the principle of federalism embodied by Bafemi Awolowo. You have the principle of inclusion, of carrying everybody along, embodied by the northern region, Sudan. And you have the principle of having minimum common standards, embodied by Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. If I had time, I'll go into the details. So the principles are there, the blueprint is there. We just need to execute. Nigeria is better together. We have the population, we have
together. Nigeria is better together. I'm going to stop you
talent.
Nigeria is better. Let me come to Maureen. Maureen, right? Let me come to Maureen. Yes. And I'm asking you the same question.
Right. So I think I'm on the side of DK. I don't want Nigeria to break up. And I just want to reiterate what I was saying, in my opening speech, which is that it will take every Nigerian to have a resolution that we are going to change. And the example I want to give is of myself. Like I said, I'm going to open myself and I'm going to be vulnerable. When a relative of mine a few years ago was in a position to where I could benefit, I would just, make it that general. I discovered within myself that I wanted to actually milk that benefit. And then I'm a Christian by the grace of God. I'm a pastor's wife. And I believe that God convicted me. Why am I saying this? There is an endemic problem that each and every one of us, when somebody who is in a position of power that we can benefit from is there, we forget our values. The problem of Nigeria is a lack of value. If every one of us begin to think, so basically I turned around, I repented, and said, oh my goodness, how could I be thinking about this in the 21st century? If every one of us think that for me to make it in Nigeria is based not on my merit, but on me, on nepotism, we will never get anywhere. So,
all right, but let's return to the topic of what should we do to make people feel that they belong to this to this country, especially those agitating for a breakup of Nigeria. How should we handle it? That's the question we're looking. How should we handle it? Let me come to you.
So, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So it's just to say that in a bit I'll be taking the questions. I see a lot of comments coming up, and I'll come to that very shortly, right after Maureen.
Right. So my lasting statement would be that if we're going to, then we see all the things that are happening. So take, for instance, England, United Kingdom. They opened it up and there was a referendum. The only way forward will be to call a referendum and ask people what their opinions are. I think that would be one of the first steps that we will be making towards making everybody feel that their opinions are valuable and they have a right to be heard. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Let me come to Daily Farotimi, and then I'll use that time to go look at the comments. What should we be asking to be done so that those who are agitating for a breakup can then begin to follow a particular structure? Perhaps I'm already giving my opinion because I believe in one Nigeria. We've been together for 60 plus years, and so we've not done badly. For me, what we need to do is to find better ways to move forward as a people. That's my opinion. So let's come to you, Daily Farotimi. Let's have your view. How should we handle those who are agitating for a breakup?
You know, if Nigeria were to be a just country, it's unlikely that anyone will be agitating to go anywhere. But people have been pushed to extremes where they have found no hope within the Nigerian construct because Nigeria is built on injustice. If you do not address the issue of injustice and the complete absence of the rule of law, the human spirit will continue to demand justice, and that is what you are seeing being expressed in secessionist terms, because those are the easiest ways to express it. Look, if a man is learning a new language and is not learning it in a structured environment, the first words he learns are the swear words. And when he begins to communicate in that language, it is the most common words he will use. It is the language of violence. When a man has nothing to say any longer, when he has come to believe that he's not being heard, he resorts to violence. So the demands for secession are merely reactions to the feelings of injustice and inequities that permeates Nigeria. We are elites. We sit down online and we are speaking all this our Dogon Trenchi because we have had the benefit of education. Ignorance has not been weaponized against us. We have eaten today, or we have expectations of meals The people who are the cannon fodder demanding secession, they are mostly hungry, being stoked by people who are also, so they are legitimate angers. They are legitimate grievances and pains. If you do not address this, nothing that we do will prevent the inevitable breakdown. I don't desire it. I prefer to be a Nigerian. I like the idea, but I don't like the idea of being a slave within a construct where my will does not matter because the system has snookered me. That is what you are seeing. The people demanding secession are demanding it because there is no justice. If you give justice, these things will stop.
All right, let me stop you there. I like the idea of being a Nigerian. That's what Dele Farotimi is saying. But the idea of people being slaves to the system is what I do not like. And Kem is saying, I disagree with you, Dele, to say that people demanding for self-determination are hungry. Someone
I said angry. I didn't say hungry.
He said
angry.
Angry.
If you have weaponized poverty against a man and he can trace his pain to the systemic problem, there are several levels where people respond to things. People would have different reasons for their demands. But if people are thriving and prospering within a system, it is different. The Scottish people are demanding Scottish independence. How many times have you heard of them carrying guns and shooting police and killing each other and police killing them? They want a Scottish nation. That is their right. That Nigeria is working should not be the reason why a Yoruba man might not be able to demand a Yoruba nation. Britain is working now, but the Scottish is demanding it. It's got the Scottish Assembly. It hasn't stopped them from demanding it.
All right, Dele, you've addressed that particular comments directed at you. Let me quickly take Dr. Bukola. She's been the one, I don't know whether it's a he or she.
So on your topic, thanks for bringing this Congress together. Nigeria proposed dissolution of the ethnic nation. Ethnic identity is an ethnocide, which is the worst form of genocide that you can think of. People like to talk about Nigeria, looking at it as a model after the United States, which in itself is very revealing because the United States is a country that is majority minority. And what we see in the United States is that if you're in the minority, you're going to be in a constant state whereby you have to be fighting for your rights, which addresses the issue of justice, like Lawyer Farotimi was talking about. So what's going to happen is that you're going to continue to chase your tails and protesting every time and create hashtags. And somebody mentioned Martin Luther King. First of all, you cannot compare the situation of African Americans that were people that were descendants of slaves in the United States to that of the people that are in their indigenous space, in the Nigerian space, okay? MLK actually fought for removing the concept of majority minority. If you understand the civil rights movement at all, that's what it was all about. Also, when people,
I think you've made your point. So we have an hour and we have just 15 minutes.
Just give me a minute, please. I want to give you a solution.
I'll give you 30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds. Leadership is not the problem. The leader is formed by their ideology. If you don't have an ideology, the ideologies of our leader is the product we're seeing in Nigeria. The best people could settle for is perhaps the orange model that's been proposed by Dele Ogun. Otherwise, we're going to have a condition in which people will continue to make the system for themselves, like one of the speakers just said. And diaspora people have legitimate rights to advocate for change in Nigeria. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much, Dr. Bukola. I see Peter London. And I see you, Saliu Ahmed. So I'm going to take Saliu Ahmed because he had also raised his hand. So we're going to take Saliu Ahmed. If he's not ready, let's take.
I am ready. I'm here.
Right.
I'm ready.
So quickly.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much. To break Nigeria up is not an option, but to reorient ourselves and starting from bottom up is my sincere opinion. If any of you has ever dabbled into the political terrain in this country, you will agree that what politicians are put through cannot bring out the best in our leaders. This needs to change, and I think we can form that strong advocacy group. Thank you.
Thank you very much for making it short. Henry Omorore, can we have you quickly?
Hello, yeah, thank you very much. And I thank Ndele Farotuni for his contribution, which is very good. I always like listening to him. You see, the fact is that we are discussing about Nigeria being together, which is quite a great. I mean, nobody's contesting that. Nigeria's unity is non-negotiable, but we should also understand that we as a nation, we exist on a fraudulent note. You cannot claim to be a federal republic or in the federal republic when you don't even have anything that is of the semblance of federalism. So that
okay,
is
so
why.
what exactly do you want? Just speak to the solution now. We're rounding up. We have to look at this.
Yes, we want equity, practical reforms,
we want
institutional and political reforms. That is what we want.
Right.
Anything
Thank you
short of
very
that
much.
is ridiculous, you know.
Thank you very much. Let me take Peter London.
I will always say that Nigerians are too intelligent and too talented to be wasted like this with this generation that we are having. Nigeria breaking up is not anything that anyone should be talking about at this point. We are only deceiving ourselves if we keep talking about Nigeria breaking up. If we do not go back to the drawing board, which is the foundation of what brought about Nigeria. It was democracy that brought about Nigeria. How can we not come together with the same mindset, with the same? We need just 20% or about 30% of Nigerian citizens that will have the same mindset to be able to put Nigeria in place.
Thank you, Peter. I think you've made your point. Let's go to the comments we have in the chat box. James says, with respect to Maury, there is nothing wrong with networking. It's applicable all over the world. It's all about the system to be designed. Okay, that's gone now. It's possible. This is Chukwemeka Wonder. It's possible to, this is a very long one, but I'll just take maybe about a sentence. It's to change every Nigerian is in government or a friend of government is a victim of the injustices that permeates the Nigerian experience. The Nigerian ruling class do not bicker over their tribal differences, and even the ones that okay, I've lost that. Let me take another one. There are about 59 new messages here. I can't possibly take all of them. Someone says, me thinks a request breakup is a lazy and myopic way out of problems. I have built several businesses in Nigeria, employing at least 200 people, and it has been a hard task. If I could do that for my business, why can I not put in that effort into nation building? Thank you for that one. Let me take, pastors are also fraudsters too. They lie a lot, and that's exactly what you're doing right now. This is a very tricky topic. Whichever way the pendulum swings, people will criticize you. I see some criticism of what I said earlier. It is what it is. No matter what you say for a topic like this, there will always be people who will want to pull you down and tackle you for that. But Northerners, there are quite a lot of comments that I can't even read here because I see that people feel very personal about it, and rightly so. Nigeria belongs to all of us. We're getting to a few minutes, about 10 minutes left for us to do this. I am going to try to read about two more. Kellers is saying it, they won't let me talk, but I can chat. The threats and agitations for breakup are all symptoms of our fluxed system. How can we run? We have no regards for truth, equity, justice, probity, and excellence. I can go on and on, but let me come back to our panelists and take two questions from you all. Let's speak to the solution. Saying, I don't want to be a Nigerian. I want to be a Nigerian. But if somebody is saying, I don't want to be a Nigerian, it's a fundamental human right of that person. And we've seen that in the agitations by Igboho, Sunday Igboho, and Nnamdi Kanu. Both of them are incarcerated at the moment. One is in court, one is not yet in court. So how do we move forward? What should we be asking for? For those of us who want to continue to remain Nigerians, what do we say to those who don't want to be? That's the question now. So I'll come to you. Buki Bello Jaisini, how do we move forward with this sort of question plaguing, hanging over our heads as Nigerians? How do we move forward? So solution now.
The panelists already mentioned something earlier, which I'm just going to amplify.
Right.
That we need to listen to each other, and responsible authorities need to find a way of making this happen. Bring people together, hear them more. Then what do we do with what we've heard? What's everyone's idea? How do we make it work? And what is your contribution? I did hear a panelist say some time ago that he or she is volunteering herself to get this. So we need to put ourselves forward. Nothing is fixed except everyone takes responsibility. That's what I believe. So it's not sectional now, but the responsibility needs to be taken by everybody. That's my submission on that.
Thank you very much. The inequities and injustices of the Nigerian state are the breeding ground for the demands for tribal homelands. But I assure you that the Nigerian state is too strong to be broken into the tidy enclaves sought by the secessionists. That's Chukwemeka Wonder. Let me come to you, DK. What do you think should be the solution? What do you think should be the solution? I see.
Well, for me, the solution is for those who believe in Nigeria and who know that it can work to come together, continue to come together and mobilize and constitute a political force. It's already happening. So for me, I'm part of so many groups where people who believe that Nigeria is workable and can work are organizing. You need to mobilize and organize so that you can bypass the delay is right. The political culture as it is, the system as it is, if you go through it, you come out corrupt at the end. So we need to build new pathways to power. And that's about mobilization and organization. If it takes 100 years, it takes 100 years. But you must always believe in your nation, and I do.
Right. Let me take Kela Zagbasi again. Just should we not be able to take him again? He said, they won't let me talk, but I can chat. The threats and agitations for breakup are all symptoms of our flood system. How can we run on fraudulent census for 100 years and overlook it just because it favors some sections? We have no regards for truth, equity, justice, poverty, and excellence. Soon, as we have a common destination, we can chart a new course and go forward. So let me come to you, Kelas. Are you able to speak now? Can you hear us? Can we take your solution now?
Yeah.
Okay, I think your line is still compromised, so I'm going to move on to Joko Okupe is still with us. Someone is asking a very tough question there, but he says, how many people of Northern extraction are in Rescue Nigeria? Rescue Nigeria is a movement that has all kinds of Nigerians from all ethnic groups there. So don't be too sure that there is no people of Northern, there are no people of Northern extraction in Rescue Nigeria. Of course there are. So let's move on to Joko Okupe. Are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Right. Let's have your solution.
To which one now?
We're talking breakup or not. What do you think is the solution to the agitations? What should we begin to do? What should the Nigerian government do?
Well, those that are agitating have a right to agitate, as has been said by many of us. They have their reasons. It's always a conversation. It's always a discussion. It's always, government needs to be sensitive to the reasons why these agitations are on. And, reconciliation, and acceptance of wrong that has been done is a very, very vital ingredient in this conversation.
Right.
And I think that government, on behalf of government, needs to accept that some wrongs have been done and plans need to make to right them.
plans made to right the wrongs of the past. Let me come to you, Maureen, very quickly because we're rounding up now.
Right. So I think the first steps would be for our government to make themselves accountable. If we find a way to make our government actually put their hand up to say we have failed, I think that vulnerability, that accountability will do a great thing in Nigeria. But you have people who are in positions of power who think that they're indestructible, their word is law. For as long as they continue to deafen their ears to the cries of the people, this will not work. But if our government can hold up their hands and say, okay, we got it wrong, but we want to work now, then I think that will pave the way forward for us as a nation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Theo John Phillips says, good afternoon, everyone. It's very heartwarming to see these discussions going on. Thank you to those who put it together and those who have volunteered time to log on. Prayerfully, all will count at some time. God bless. On that note, let me ask Dele Farotimi for his conclusions as we say good afternoon again. Dele Farotimi, please.
Well, I would just continue to reiterate what I have said. However much we might desire the idea of Nigeria, which, like I said, is a very good idea, we cannot build on nothing. And until such a time as when we clearly make justice the foundation, law and order, let law rule, and take away this reign of impunity, we are just wasting time. You cannot build anything sustainable on these lives. Justice has to be instituted in Nigeria if it will not break. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right. And on that note, we come to the very end of this conversation. Someone says maybe the time has come for us to stop being united in criminality and start being united in our human values. The notion of us against them is a colonial mentality. If we don't stop reasoning like this, it is a very humanity that is at stake. And on that note, I'd like to thank everyone, our esteemed panelists, for coming on to our very first edition of the People's Discussion. Let's let you know that Rescue Nigeria is a growing movement of people unified by their common goal of building a strong and successful nation out of the ruinous experiment that Nigeria looks like today. The big idea of Rescue Nigeria is that Nigeria's potential to succeed is stronger, but the central value of the movement is simple: good citizenship from ordinary people is a driver of good leadership. So the onus is on you and me as citizens to make Nigeria the best place for us to live in. I'm your moderator, Anike Ade from Ketridge, thank you on behalf of Rescue Nigeria for being part of this discussion today. It's about Nigeria, breakup or not. It's a very tricky debate, as we've seen. We've had hackers trying to make it a very difficult time for us to have meaningful discussion. But here we are. We've had our 1 hour, we've talked and we've dialogued, and we have this recording as proof of what the conversation has been about today. Good afternoon, everyone, again. Rescue Nigeria will have to say thank you to you for being a part of this first outing. Thank you very much. People's Parliament will be back. People's Discussion will be back next month, God willing. Have a good week ahead. Bye-bye now.
Naija, which way now?